This is the Podcast of Owls, episode number 2 for the week of January 25th, 2018. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Podcast of Owls, your one-stop podcast for quest, future updates, lore, and much, much more. Joining me today, I have Avernic.
I'm still here.
And Amascut has already ditched us on the second podcast. What's happened?
Amascut's not still here.
Yep, he's not still here. Got quite the lineup for you today. We've got our news as always, and then topics. We have the Stone of Jas timeline. Yeah, we're gonna kill ourselves over this one.
Can't wait. Sarcastic voice.
Sarcastic voice. Yeah, it's complicated.
No, it'll be fun.
We have a bit of updating news. Or not really updating. I've put this on Twitter before as well as it's been in the descriptions, but I guess it's not been advertised as much as it probably should have been. But all of our podcast audios is available on SoundCloud. So links to that will always be in the description, and you can listen to us in the background if you're on mobile or something. And yeah, because we know YouTube likes to be kind of crappy with that. So I think that's about all of the little pre-discussion we have. Let's go jump on over into news.
So much news this week.
Yeah, I see that. Sarcastic. No.
It came back. It was foreshadowing before.
This week is actually pretty news light. Starting out with this week's update, we have the Aura Bag, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a bag for auras.
Bag of auras and bugs.
And apparently it has been very poorly QA'd and broke everything.
There were forgotten auras that you could no longer use, or if you did, they broke some things. And there were other things. I've forgotten over the past 2 days because Reddit stopped talking about it.
I know some people were saying that it actually kept their auras from working in some instances. I have refrained from using it because I didn't want things to break.
I looked at it and I put it away. I feel like it's nice. What I still want for the ore bag though is I don't want it to pull me out of the game to buy it in the Solomon shop with my loyalty points, because I went into it, looked at the unknown tab, saw I still didn't have, I think it was piety. I was like, oh, well, there's a buy button right here, and it shows my loyalty points right next to it, so I know I can purchase it. So it seems like if you just hit the button, it'll do the transaction for you, but it pulls you out to the website just to confirm it. And I wish that would have been changed with this.
Yeah, I can't really understand why this came out so buggy. It feels like a lot of this could have been avoided if they tested more than 3 auras.
I mean, it took forever to come out in the first place.
Yeah.
But it's a thing in the game now on the equipment tab, so I guess it saved me 15 bank space or something.
Yeah, I guess that's the upside to it. Alright, also coming with this week was the Backramental bolts. If any of you are not aware, you can now gem tip Backramental bolts. Obviously, it still has to be at the tree as always.
No, you can gem. You don't. It's actually you tip completed bolts.
Oh, no, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I made that mistake the first day.
Yeah, I did as well. But the bolts unenchanted are level 85, and enchanted they are level 95. Now, obviously, we do not have level 95 weapons to make use of that, so they are it's future-proofed, basically. So when they come out with level 95 crossbows, they will still be useful.
Right. Have you used them yet?
I tested out like Ruby and Diamond just because I was curious of how like good they were compared to how, back in the day, just because that was what I was most familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, they still have the same issues that they kind of had back in the day, where there's still a cap and all that. I also do not own T90s to be able to test them to their full capacity,
What did you
so
use then?
I used Chaotix.
Ah. Um. Yeah, they're what was I gonna say? I just had words in my mouth. Oh, it was used as information. Was the do you know if the elite seer village reward that it buffs the regular bolt proc chances? Do you know if they buff the back criminal ones?
I am unsure, actually.
I think
Uh,
it's been theorized they do,
I
which
would assume it
is nice.
does because it should just be a flat boost to all enchanted bolts.
But did they apply it to these new bolts? Is
Yeah,
the
I'm
question.
not positive. That would have
Yeah.
to be something we'd have to research further.
So I've been trying to make a couple of these over the past couple of days, and something that I'm not understanding is the bloodwood trees, what the chances for getting logs at each of them is. Because I've never gotten more than 5 at any of the wilderness trees, but I've gotten up to like 13 at like the ritual tree. And so I'm trying to figure out what either I'm just really unlucky or I'm not sure what the.
Now, correct
I
me if
thought there were
I'm
different
wrong.
chances.
Correct me
I
if
thought
I'm
there was
wrong, but
supposed to
I
be.
thought the wilderness trees, the point of them were like
I thought so too, but
all of them add
over
up to be a single non-wilderness tree.
all
I
of them have to be a wait. So the non-wilderness ones are better.
Well, they're better in the fact that like it's a tree, like
Uh huh.
a standard bloodwood tree, and then the wilderness, all what, three or four of them?
There's 3. Yeah.
Yeah, three come together to be like another quote unquote tree.
I thought the
So
wilderness
like
ones were
you
better.
collect from the three, and that
Uh
it
huh.
gave you the output of another standard non-wilderness tree. Like the point was
Okay.
to keep you moving around the wilderness.
I guess I misunderstood it. I thought the wilderness ones were better because of the risk, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think that was how it was pitched when it first came out, but I could be wrong about that.
Hmm. Well, these are worth a little bit of money to do.
Did you test any
Um,
of them that were not ruby or diamond?
I haven't tested any of them because I don't own any crossbows.
Nice. Only
So
the only the most experienced reflections here on the podcast of owls.
clearly, I mean,
Clearly.
if they were gem-tipped glaives, then I'd be all over it. But I'm not feeling buying a cross. I'm not too um enthralled by this update. I'm not like itching to use it.
Yeah, I know Walter said that he has tested them out and that he hasn't found any bugs, so
As long as they're bug free and they work as they were sold to us, then they're probably the best thing in the game
yeah.
for range.
Alright, also this update was the treasure hunter bingo card things.
Yes, later in the week,
Yeah, yeah,
Wednesday.
yeah.
So this
I
is
continue to skip doing these because I'm sick of these style of events.
you mean styles we've seen before,
Yes, exactly two that they have. This and
and
the skill to
not even
collect
like
events.
it's not even like it's the same format. It's they keep repeating the assassin one or the Halloween one.
Yeah.
It's never a different. I don't think there's been a theme any than other than those. Maybe there was like a Mega May one at one point, I think, but
Did they do one for
yeah,
Mega May? I
I
don't.
thought. Wait,
Yeah, Party Pete had one.
oh, maybe there was something like that, but yeah, it's been done. I mean, it has the same problems as before, where the tasks are either they're either easy or they use some ridiculous items or activities that no one wants to utilize or is just ridiculous to do. Like there's a collection one here, and it requires you to collect like harmonic dust and basilisk bane bolts and some combination potion that requires like 98 herb lore, and it's all over the place. And you have to do this not just once but 3 times if you want to actually do the whole event.
Yeah, Walter was saying that he found it funny that it brought you to like the most unupdated and ugly places, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, like the werewolf agility course.
Yeah.
Probably the second worst course in the game, right after the werewolf skullball course, which is right next door.
And the Brimhaven course. Oh, 'cause I hate that one.
I like that one better than the werewolf.
I suppose. I've only ever done werewolf like 1 or 2 times because of like the task set.
Have you ever done werewolf and then you forgot to pick up the bone at the end, and then when you came back, you did not have it?
Literally every time I've done werewolf, yes. I always forget that that's a thing.
You probably forgot that, so I brought it right now.
Yeah, and you can also fail werewolf at 99. So that's lovely.
Yeah,
That's something I'm glad they got rid of at Prifdnis.
Backdoors. But yeah, these tasks are mostly ridiculous. I think the more reasonable end of task would be like there's one that says like exhaust a rare arc resource. I think that's more of an appropriate task than collect Basilisk Bane ore, which no one has the head for.
Yeah.
Like one's doable and one's very not doable.
Well, it's like Basilisk Bane was always, besides just useless.
Why does it even exist? Why?
Yeah, it's a weird thing that I
They
don't
should have just
ever
done
understand.
like Dragon Bane, because that's
Well, Dragon Bane is the
doable.
most accessible to make.
After going to get all the Bane ore,
Well, yeah, I mean after you get the Bane ore, but
still ridiculous.
it's the easiest to attune because there's so
I'm
many
not.
options. You have Dragon
I'm
Bones, you
just
have
not a
Dragon
fan of how
Hide, you have heads.
I'm not a fan of how these events are. This event is.
Yeah.
It's slightly worse than the skill to collect the currency, to 10,000 currency stuff, but that's not saying that much at this point because that one's been so incredibly overdone.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, and then
yeah.
last bit of news for this week. The eclipse happened again today. So that was
Yay.
a thing.
It confused everyone. There were so many things on the Reddit saying like, "Is there a new quest coming next week?" or "Did something just happen? Did Slisky die or something?" I don't know. Some ridiculous shit, but it confused so many people, and they had to say, "No, guys, that was actually just like we're not hyping up anything except the quest replay stuff."
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure it was all just to like, oh, end game is replayable and
And they
soon.
said they're gonna do it again on Monday.
Why?
More hype, emphasis on the quotes.
Yeah, emphasis on the quotes. Oh, great.
This thing that we've been waiting for over a year for, you know?
Thing we've been waiting for over a year that I
If
still
you've even been waiting
probably,
for.
yeah, that I still probably won't do because I despise that
That
quest.
the number of people that interact with it is gonna be in the triple digits, I think.
Really, you think it's gonna reach that high?
Well, when the vampire series replays didn't get past double digits, you know, I'll give it a little optimism there.
A little more because it's the 6th age quest.
A little more because it'll be in a bigger news post. That's it. It's the only reason.
Alright, well that's all the news we have to go over the topic.
Okay, the Stone of Jas.
Oh boy. Okay, so for anyone who is unaware, the Stone of Jas timeline is probably the most complicated timeline we have in the game. Along with there being holes, there are just inconsistencies and things that just straight don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, we'll go into them all, obviously, but it's just, I have a older video on the channel now, probably from, I'd say about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now, which talked about this. It was a Rune Secrets episode, if you want to check that one out. Um, I kind of go into how really overly complicated and confusing as shit this thing is, but I don't think I did it justice, so that's why we're talking about it again.
So where did it start?
So, in the beginning, it was created by Jas. I think that's probably the easiest thing we can pinpoint at that point.
It was probably created in the Elder Halls on Gielinor.
No. False.
No.
No. It was
On
created.
Freniskay.
We don't know when it was created. We know it was after they woke up on Furnace obviously. But we know it was made to create the other Elder artifacts. So it obviously had to be made before they made planets.
Mm-hmm. And then
And then they made Gielinor, and they put
you
it
set
there.
the Dragonkin.
Yeah, the Dragonkin at one point they did bind to the stone.
I was gonna say they're stuck to the stone.
Yeah.
As a part
We
of
also
the
don't
creation of it.
particularly know when that happened either, or where they got the Dragonkin.
You don't think it was to start with? Well, it hasn't been said the Dragonkin are from the past revision.
Yeah, they're from the past revision, so we do know that.
I think they would be saved by the Elder Gods from the past revision, not just like they survived on their own.
Yeah, I would assume they would be on one of the planets from the past revision that we know now is not Freniskay. Like, for certain at this point. Even I know there's some speculation on that at some point. We know they hid in the abyss, and then at some point, Jas bound them to the stone.
I see.
That's about all we know before they got put to Gielinor.
So then the stone ends up on Gielinor at some point.
Yeah, so obviously, Elder Gods make their perfect world. They go into hiding, start to sleep, and they put it on the world. Next thing we know, Guthix comes in and he finds it. Where did he find it? We don't know. He just did.
If you look at the Origins of Gielinor video, it was on a hill.
Yeah, the Origins of Gielinor video just has it like sitting out in the open, which, I can completely believe happened. If the Elder Gods didn't think, life would form there, then I can assume they wouldn't care.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
It's a giant Lego for someone to step on.
Yeah, so Guthix found it, and he used it for most of the first age, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know where he was keeping it at the time. So, but it eventually ends up in the mountainside of near the Fremennik area.
Yeah.
Because that is where V eventually finds it.
Yes.
So V finds it, he places it on the Lunar Isle in the cave, and that's where it creates the essence mine. Now, this happened in the Second Age, which we know now because of kind of retcon things that have happened. At one point it was speculated he was 5th Age, but yeah, it's Second Age.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, he put it in the Lunar Essence Mine. And at some point, the Ketzians show up, because why not? We know that they are the ones who walk the higher astral path or whatever. And they take it to Ketzi. Yes. And so it is now on Mount Fireweight. And then shit hits the fan.
As in the fan we don't know where it is or when it is, and the shit we don't know where it is or when it is?
Yeah.
Or how it is?
Or how it is, yes. So at some point, the Dragonkin managed to end up on Freniske. Or not on Freniske, on Ketsi.
Yes.
And they are pissed, and they destroy Ketsi.
Poof.
Poof.
And then
it's left. And we don't know what happens here. This is where a lot of the holes start happening.
question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah, exactly. So we know it was left on Ketsi. We know the Dragonkin didn't take it. We know Zamorak didn't come and take it. How did it get moved? Any ideas?
Absolutely none. But needs explaining. Needs improvement.
There's also an issue here about Robert the Strong. So we know that he was on Ketsi at one point.
Why?
But Robert the Strong was 4th Age. And he makes it seem like there were people on Ketsi at the time. But we know Ketsi was destroyed in the 2nd Age. So, issues.
Time travel probably.
I find that
something schism.
yeah, something schism. Yeah, I find that answer kind of hard to like swallow, honestly.
Yeah.
So anyway, it gets back to Gielinor at some point, and ends up in the hands of Zamorak. So we know that while he had it, he kept it in a mine under Hollowdale. And that is what created Dealdor, if anyone remembers that from the Vampire series. Did we ever find out what that did?
What Dealdor did?
Yeah, was it only just to like help humans turn into vampires?
That's all it's been used for. It must have some sort of like transformative properties. I don't know.
Yeah, also the opposite, as Walter said.
Right. Yeah, but that's all it's used for in Darkmire.
Yeah, they made it seem to be like it was a bit more important than it was, and
I think we hyped it up to be a bit more important than it was.
That's also a possibility.
and then they're like constantly trying to like push down expectations.
Yeah, and then oh, it's just piled up in the castle.
Reagent. Yeah. Just a catalyst.
Yeah, so Zami then used the stone with the staff, kills Zeros. And then the stone is taken by Saradomin, because of course it is. And he hides it in the cave that is now the Fist of Guthix minigame.
The Eye of Saradomin minigame?
Yeah. The Eye of Saradomin minigame? Yes. Yes. Okay, so so we know at a certain point through the God Wars that it was in this location, that Saradomin kept it there for an extensive period of time. We don't know how Zami got it back. Do we?
No, because the only reason we know he had it was because of the Ritual of the Majrak cutscene.
No, the Ritual of the Majrak cutscene, Saradomin still had it.
Yeah, but that's the only reason we know that Zamorak lost it for a period.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's how we know that Saradomin kept. We know Saradomin had it at one point, obviously.
Right.
That was the first time we knew that it was hidden in the Fist of Guthix cave.
Yeah, I don't think we know how Zamorak got it back. So the next time we see it is in the Dishonor Among Thieves cutscene.
Yeah, so Zami gets it at some point and blows up the wilderness, as you do.
Yes, because he felt a lot of peer pressure.
Yeah.
From his buddies.
He was backed into a wall and then went boom. And so this is when Guthix wakes up. Obviously that's fairly common knowledge. And takes it back. Now what's interesting about this is that we're told in somewhere. I think it was Morvaran's notes? Not Morvaran, Vario, sorry. Vario's notes
Okay.
that Gothic's like smashed it into the ground at the Fist of Gothic site, but I don't.
I do not remember that.
Yeah, like
That
he
sounds
literally
mistaken.
punched it into the ground.
Well, he was totally there, so he knows.
Yeah, obviously. Um, but that doesn't make much sense. I think he was reading that out of a storybook or something. I
Probably.
think that's the lore that I remember of that a bit. Um, so he smashed it into the ground, and that was at the Fist of Gothic site, and that was what created the Fist of Gothics, and that was why they called it that, because oh, he smashed his fist in the ground. Pretty sure that's not how that was
It's not
done.
how it happens at all.
Yeah, because we know
But
the stone was in the wilderness with Zami at that point, so.
right. But so when Guthix took it back, he brought it where?
So when Guthix takes it, this is where things go really, like, wonky. He takes it to the ancient cavern that we see in While Guthix Sleeps. So in this area, it creates the Tears of Guthix. Now, we have two conflicting sources on this. To start off with, when we do While Guthix Sleeps, and we talk to Juna afterwards, she says that the stone has been there since the Third Age, when Guthix put it there. But we know that the Dragonkin were most active in the Fourth Age, and the Dragonkin are only ever active when the stone is being used. So was it being used in the Fourth Age while it was supposedly down in the cavern?
Hmm. Probably not.
I, this is where things are kind of like, I don't really know why
Maybe
this is happening.
maybe it was a tourist attraction for a while.
A tourist attraction, people can,
Ten gold
$5,
pieces,
touch the
touch
Stone of
it.
Jas. So yeah, the Fourth Age is a very complicated mess because we have people going after the stone, we have the Dragonkin freaking out the whole time. Yet supposedly it's down in the cavern. So the question is, was it moved? Who moved it if they did? How did it get back? And why would Juna not know that? All, que-
All wonderful
all
questions.
wonderful questions that need to be answered.
Um, what was up with the balance elemental again? Why was it the time traveling confuseness?
So the balance elemental was made by Gothic's like
Guthix.
combining together five different druids.
So,
Or
so
four
why?
druids and Aeternam.
Okay.
And Aeternam like walked through time or whatever. That was just some ability that Gothic said he had. And so
Okay.
he could like see through time, and there was weird stuff with that basically.
So
But
that might have had something to do with something, but I am not sure.
I don't know, the balance elemental feels like a weird uh connection there, because it seems like once he became the balance elemental, he didn't time travel. He kind of just like
Hmm.
had his mind stuck in between like past and present and future.
What a wonderful time.
Yeah, but no, that also brings into the question then, because we know Guthix made the balance elemental at the end of the Third Age and put it on
Hmm.
the stone now because of Memorial of Guthix.
Yeah, but then the
So
stone couldn't have moved.
yeah, so the stone couldn't have moved. But then why was the Dragonkin active?
The Dragonkin were active because Robert the Strong?
But Robert the Strong was only a thing because the Dragonkin were active.
Right, so that's why we know that they were active in the Fourth Age.
Yeah,
Um,
like
maybe
he only took action because they were being like crazy.
maybe there was some ulterior thing going on there. that they're going to try to explain away with retcons and whatnot in future quests.
Maybe, like, the only thing I could think of is, like, during the Third Age, when it was, like, actively being used by gods, like, the Dragon King
Right.
weren't powerful enough to do anything about it. And so
I
the
don't think
Fourth
they
Age was,
finally
like,
kind of.
all... Yeah, so, like, Fourth Age was all of their pent-up rage just, like, coming out.
And they got no gods to contest them.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only explanation I can come up with for it, but
Needs improvement.
yeah, needs explanation. All right, so
Then Wall Gothic Sleep
yep,
happens.
then Wild Gothic Sleeps happen. So here we have our player involvement. So obviously we get it from the cave. Lucian steals it, and then
Ends up
he
in the
moves it to
Glaycor
the
cave.
Glaycor cave, and then he
Were
takes it.
Glaycors there because wait, were Glaycors there because he summoned them because they were there originally or because of the stone?
That is an excellent question.
Because they have a home world.
Because they have a
Not
home.
this one.
We didn't know that at one point. I think at one point we thought like they were made from the stone being in an icy area.
Right, but now we know
It was
because
so
of
cold that
the
like it altered the ice and made it into an elemental, and that was the Glaycor. But that doesn't make much sense now that we know that they have a homeworld called Ling.
right. So that's something that I have no idea.
There is a fairy ring in the
Right.
Glaycor cave, so it's possible
But
they
that's
came through the fairy ring.
literally going to the other side of the universe because it's one of those original worlds from the past revision.
That's true.
Because it's the like that one in Vampirium and Infernus were past revision worlds.
Yeah. That's hard. That's a hard
So
question. I don't know why, honestly.
we'll figure it out eventually, maybe.
I assume because in the actual like ritual, Lucian like summons them. Ugh, I can speak, I promise.
hmm
But I assume that means he brought them from Ling.
It's possible.
Like that's the only
Yeah.
thing that really makes sense. I don't think the stone had much to do with it. Maybe he like
Okay.
used it to enhance his summoning powers.
To travel across the worlds or
Yeah.
something. Okay. Well, anyway, Ritual of Majra happens then.
Yep, so he brings us to the ritual site and he dies, thank God.
What a dumbass.
Yeah. So
Um,
after
and
that,
Dragonkin once again don't take the stone with them.
yep, the
I
dragon can
feel like
again just
they should
leave it
have.
with mortals.
Yeah.
I mean, see, that was the thing is like back in the Ketsi deal is okay, obviously they're not going to bring it from Ketsi because they're leaving it on a dead world. Like, why would you bring it to a place with mortals when you can leave it on a place that literally no one can use it?
hmm
But yeah, why would they leave it in the hands of your player who has been known to touch it?
We're a
Or
registered
with
stone
or
offender.
or with other Majorat, or with the
Right.
Temple Knights. Yeah, they're really smart on that one.
But they left it,
Yeah, so
so we
they
could
left
get
it,
our mitts all over it.
and we do some sketchy, magical, mystical bullshit and teleport it away without touching it.
Yeah, to one of was it 4 or 5 locations?
Five, I think. Yeah,
Wait,
5.
do you remember the locations? I
Okay,
remember
I know
Crandor, the Barrows.
Crandor the Barrows, Godworst Dungeon, the middle of the ocean,
Uh,
and was it the Gothic site?
wait, back to where it started.
Is that where I'm gonna need some Walter confirmation on that one?
Uh, I think it's time for
The
the
power
wiki.
of Wiki.
Yeah, not that this is at all really that important, but
Yeah,
it's fun to know.
yeah. It's one of those choice things. Like it was based off of the fact that you chose a number 1 through 5.
Oh yeah, right next to Gothics.
Oh, right next to Gothic's. Great.
It was the Gothics, there was Crandor, there was Barrows, there was under Trollheim, and there was under the Godwar's dungeon. So what? Two of those were really close together. Huh. Well,
Yeah, I do find it funny. One of the options was the Barrows, so like Sliske could go home from the
and
ritual and just have it like in his basement.
nice and convenient.
Yeah, I know. Oh well, glad to know I didn't have to do any work. I think
But
I got
yes,
the Crandor option. Do you remember what yours was?
not in the slightest.
Great.
Not in the slightest.
Useless.
But yeah, he gets it via using the staff of Armadil to find the connection between the Dragonkin and the stone because Jas told him he could do that.
Yeah, and that's how he found the stone from whatever basement.
How did you get the staff again?
Because the Dragonkin was just holding it, and he lured the Dragonkin into the Shadow Realm.
Okay.
Because they still had it from
So this was
Ritual
all
of Ashra.
Strissat's fault, right?
Yes, the one that has never appeared back, whichever one that is. Sithath.
Oh, Sithath. Okay. So not Cage Boy.
He's still stuck in the Shadow Realm somewhere, probably.
Ah.
That's why he's never come back. That's the ongoing joke of the Dragonkin that never returned.
So yeah, Sliske had it. Has it.
Sliske had it, and then we had Dishonor Among Thieves, where we saw it again.
Yeah.
And then it blew up in-game. Spoilers.
Because the heart made it so that there was animas, and then there was the mirror.
And then there was the mirror, and it strained the connection, and something.
And Carapac shouted some words, and then it blew up.
And it blew up.
And
because
no one took
that's
any damage.
The most logical of explanations.
It's something happened there.
So it's destroyed.
And now it's in 3 pieces in our inventory.
You may think we're done. You are wrong. We have not even gone through the issues that do not fit in this timeline. So, the essence mine in the north. We know that the stone creates rune essence. We saw that happen in the Lunar Isle cave. So
Was
that
this
would
not where V found it?
No, this was not.
Wonderful.
We found it in a cave.
This could have just been where Gothics found it then.
That is true. That is a possibility that this was where it originally was, like where the Elder Gods left it.
Because there is that theory that the Essence Mine is also like the Elder Halls, which would make it an okay place to like.
Yeah, no, I perfectly like that theory. Is that it's the Elder Halls. Also, if it's the Elder Halls, we can just eliminate it from the timeline, because the Elder Gods just being there could create essence. But right now, that's just a theory.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it is still there and kind of questionable. Like, when would it have fit there other than, I think we have two options. We have, either that's where Gothics found it, or that's where Gothics kept it while he was using it in the first age.
That could also be where Zamorak found it after it got back from Kethsey.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't know why it would be
it's
put
possible,
there,
but why would Zami be all the way up in the north?
The journey of self-discovery.
Yeah, that's yes.
But yeah, probably more Gothicsy.
Yeah, what I would say, if it has to fit in the timeline somewhere, it's got to go there. But
okay,
I don't know. It's an odd one.
Next,
we kind of hit on the Gothixian cave. Like we said, at some point it had to have left the cave if the Dragonkin were being active, unless it was like pent-up rage from the third age. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been active. So if it did move, how did it move? When did it move? Who moved it? Who put it back? Why is Juno an idiot? And so on. How did they get around the balance elemental? I would love to know these answers. Alright, the next bit is the lores and histories. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I could not take a guess if you asked me.
Alright, it is called Interview with a Mage. So,
What
do what?
what was this one? Was that Movario?
No, it is with, it's just some random reporter with some random ass old mage. And this Lores and Histories talks about the guy. So this takes place in the Fifth Age, and he
Okay.
is super old and like almost near death. And that this event happened that he describes at the beginning of the Fifth Age. So what
Mm.
happens is he went to the north when he was a boy, and he went with this group, and this group found something. And this something that he describes, he says, in a general sense, that they discovered magic. And that because of what they found there, that he wouldn't name, they were able to use magic without runes. Does that sound familiar?
Lunar Mad,
A lunar
maybe?
clan, exactly, yes.
Okay.
So, that is how the lunar clan can use magic without runes.
That
Is that
contradicts
because
what the Moon Clan manual says, though.
what?
The Moon Clan manual says that they, through their exposure to making the astral altar, they just became so good at magic they like didn't need the runes anymore.
No, they made the astral altar by concentrating like a bunch of power or whatever. And that they were beyond the point of using runes. That was just kind of like a symbol of their people. It was just, oh, we have our own altar to ourselves.
At that point, okay.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, this what the guy describes is the exact same thing as what happened to the lunar people. They find something. He doesn't want to name the something because the something is too powerful. And that what he found was able to give him the ability to use magic without runes, without being super dangerous. So that only leaves one possibility of what he found. And that's obviously the Stone of Jas. So,
Average of 1,000 truths.
the cabbage of a thousand truths, exactly. So the question is, if he found it at the beginning of the Fifth Age, what the fuck?
Nope, didn't happen.
Yeah, like you can always write this off as, oh, it's just the lores and histories, and it's not canon, blah, blah, blah. I find that hard to swallow. I mean, you can do it,
They
but
mostly are canon, though.
yeah, they mostly are. They very rarely are not. Actually, I don't know any that aren't not, except for like Samuel Scardone, but that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, it was just probably like, uh, or it wasn't established. When was this one come out? When did this one come out?
It came out. I am gonna have to look that one up actually.
I'd guess it's probably came out before While Gothic Sleeps.
I almost certainly.
And it was probably just a relic
It
of
was
legacy lore.
came out. Oh, thanks Wiki for not having a date.
Nice. No, we'll never know.
Let's see. Yeah, so the actual Lores and Histories title is A True and Concise History of the Discovery of Runes. But, yeah. Interview with a Mage is like the subtitle. That's just how I've always remembered it. So yeah, this one throws holes in a lot of things for pretty much no reason.
So we disregard it.
Yeah, it is an issue. Like it's very easily thrown out because it's not something that's actually in game. But I tend to not like throwing out the lores and histories just because we get so few of them.
What was the last one we had again?
The Krez one, I think, right?
Oh yeah, that one was good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Damn.
Alright, and then the last bit of
Okay.
unknown issues that we have is how did the stone get moved from Ketsi? Again, something else we pointed on a bit earlier. Do you have any idea how it could be moved?
Not at all. I mean, the best guess you can have is probably like fairies, because fairy ring.
Uh, but
But
it's not in the same area.
it's not.
The fairy ring
I
is on
thought
the
it would
Isle of
be.
San, whereas,
I really wish they'd just connect the isle and the mountain and make it like a cohesive area. But yeah,
I mean, I kind of like that it's not, just because it gives you the sense of,
really.
oh, you know, Ketsi isn't more than just one load square.
I mean, I've connected by like a lot of space, but I just want to like even like Ubius, I wish they'd connect up the old area and the new area. But anyway, that's very off topic. Um,
Yeah,
I guess fairies, but yeah, it was who knows. Maybe it was. Why wasn't it Zamorak? Because he said he found Gilnor, right?
yeah, I
Um,
mean, we know that, and we also know there were some interviews that came out, I think, with either Raven or Osborne that said,
needs improvement.
yeah, but they said that, yeah, Zami was not the one that moved it. So if
Okay.
he didn't somehow stumble into Ketsi, which would be weird to begin with, and take it from there, not much of an options. Apparently Bill Ratch was mentioned. Wait, let's see. Okay, yeah. Bill Ratch mentioned the
Walter not
Dragonkin
knowing.
as the enders of the Great War, so that Bill Ratch may have seen the Ketsi War. This is what Walter's saying. I'm not particularly sure I understand this. That's very iffy. I don't.
Well, how long? But Bill Ratch wasn't active in the second age, was he? In Venus time?
No, because that would have been,
That's one of the Dragon King Castle.
yeah, I mean, that would have been, while he was still either under Zeros or Ixthlaran at that point.
Yeah, so that would have. That's
That,
probably more assuming that the Cat's stuff happened in the fourth age.
yeah, which we know at this point that it can't have happened at that point, because we know Zamrak got it after the Catsians.
Right, because the Getzians took it from the Lunar people, which was we now know in the second age because of Hero's Welcome.
Yeah.
But if for some it's like it has to the wrench here is then Hero's Welcome, right? Because if V was fourth age, like we assumed beforehand, then Ketsi being after the God Wars works fine. Or no, it
Uh,
doesn't, because then Guthix would have had it. Shit.
well, yeah, because then it still would have been in the cave, and the balance elemental kind of throws things
Right.
off now that we know a time frame on him. Although I guess it could be argued that like the balance elemental jumped into time into the fifth age, but that seems odd.
Yeah, so uh
Uh,
it, the story needs more work.
yeah, this story needs a
Not
lot
on
of
our
touching up.
part, on the game's part.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to say on this?
No, I'm thoroughly confused.
Yeah, I think we've all like rattled our brains on this for.
You've talked me into a circle of inescapable confusion,
Yeah, no,
and,
that is this timeline.
it doesn't work. This
Yeah,
is the best it probably would work.
this topic was actually one of the first things that me and Amascut and Walter wrote together way back in the day.
I wasn't here.
The long removed year of 2015.
So long ago.
Yeah, I know. And we
Back
were,
when we got Quest.
I think we were just sitting around TeamSpeak one night talking, and we got into this discussion. And so we started like typing out, okay, what is a like legitimate timeline? And then we start finding all these different like confusing sources, and then it just makes no other sense. Oh, and then I did forget to mention one last place that makes no sense in this timeline, and that is the Ancient Cavern. So if anyone has found the
The my notes.
yeah, the my notes that are just like basically crazy ramblings,
Yeah.
there is a section in here that says uh the stone. Is it here? Was it here? Will it ever be here? Or that my ramblings were clear enough that I understood what my questions meant. Then I may understand an answer. So that obviously is written by a crazy person and could very, you know, easily not be true. But it does bring in the question, why would he mention that?
Could be a different stone.
It's stone capitalized. And that is only ever used in the context of the Stone of Jas.
Or for his sacred sapphire.
Or for what?
For his stone, he didn't care about the big stone. He had
Oh,
his special favorite stone.
he just had a special stone.
Yeah.
He drew a face on it and called it Barry.
Why Barry?
Because why not Barry?
His name's Rocky. Come
Rocky.
On. Yeah. And there's also the stone you see in your hallucinations.
No, that's like
totally
a legitimately a hallucination, and also that's also a lore fail with the model they used in that. Fun fact.
Oh, the model?
Yeah, the model. They
model from Dishonor Among Thieves.
Yeah, they used the model from the Dishonor Among Thieves instead of the base model from While Gothic Sleeps, because this is a fifth
What
age
was
quest.
The model they miniaturized for the paperweight in Lord of Imperium?
It was also the Dishonor Among Thieves model.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why they did that, because those quests
as the stone in the Fifth Age.
Well, I mean, this could technically have happened like
it could have, but
between While Gothic Sleeps and the World Wakes.
Could have, but
I mean, if they're fifth age quests, then they have to if we know what the stone is.
Right.
But there's no reason it should be the sixth age model.
Right. Well, this has been something.
Yeah, so
that's definitely a larger topic for the news light week.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I expect next week to also be news light.
Possibly. Unless they just surprise us with like a good update that we want to talk about.
It's going to be Slisky's Endgame replaying.
Alright, well let's get over with the rest of the show. Alright, so how did you feel about that topic?
Made me feel things inside, and I don't want to feel them anymore.
Alright, so you have a new weekly discussion that you want to put up every week. What is it?
Right, so this is the best update of 2018. So this is going to be every week. We look at this week's update and see if it is the best so far, comparing it to the previous best. See what we feel is the best and what have been runners up by what's had the place. So this week, I'd say that we have to look back at the past 2 weeks as well for the year.
Yeah.
And Walter and Fang maybe agree that the best update so far has been the Stalkers.
Yeah, no, I'd say that's about right. So yeah,
to do.
In future podcasts, we're gonna say, was this week better than?
Not really had stuff to do.
Yeah, was this week better than Stalkers? If yes, replace. If no, Stalkers continue. Do what? Do you have any thoughts on what?
On why the Stalkers are better than that Criminal Bolts or the Hadean Skull event?
Hadean Skull because it's
the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's reused content. Like I don't really have that big of an attachment to Hadean Skull, other than just like, it's a thing that you can do for BXP, whatever. Backer Mental Bolts, like it's cool and all, but you know, and
Just a thing.
yeah, it's kind of just like a quality of life thing that they wanted to give, gem enchantments kind of a use
Right.
again. And I think, as things go, I think that was a great way to do it. But Stalkers, I think, beat it out with, they're pretty simple Slayer task. They
Right.
have some pretty cool lore that came with them, and it was overall a solid update for what it was.
I almost said there. I felt like it was like actually like it felt like the newest like the new shiny toy to play with. Then I remembered that they've been in game for a long while now. So not actually, but
Yeah, I mean, but they've not been like
they've been
actively
utilized well
killable.
here.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So that's that discussion that I'm going to try to keep going every week, and we'll see when the stalkers get beat out. I think it'll probably be with deep sea fishing, but we'll see.
I think it will almost be a running joke to see how long Stalkers can stay on here. Let's be honest.
And then the thing after that, the thing after that.
Yeah, exactly.
This will be fun.
All right. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I am all good.
All right. Well, I've been Crondis. This has been Avernic, and
Yes, I have.
see you later.
Bye.